Good afternoon, everybody. This is Kiana. I am back, and today we are going to be talking about, are we surveilling the right people? Before we get into today's topic, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel on Rumble. Your likes and your shares are important. What it does is it pushes these videos up in the algorithm. It tells the algorithm that these videos are important. But just because these videos are not pushed up in the algorithm does not mean that these videos are not important. So, as you know, I have been uh, the United States of America and the Republic of Ireland have contracted with uh, cyber hackers, and they have actually, and so these cyber hackers are actually white nationalists. And so what they have done is they've actually gotten into my YouTube account and blocked my access to the account. So I don't know how long I'm going to be without that account, but I would recommend everybody not to associate with the Gmail account or and I would like to advise you that with this personal account, this the Gmail account that's connected to my YouTube account, I don't ever send any personal messages from those accounts. And so I'm cautioning everybody to, if you are going to be interacting with that account, or if you're receiving messages from that account, I just want to inform you that that message is not coming from me because I don't have access to that account, and I don't send personal messages from that YouTube account whatsoever. And so lately, I haven't even been sending any personal messages from my social media accounts because they have been uh, overtaken by cyber hackers, and so any communication that I may send that's personal, um, I often talk over WhatsApp, or I often talk over um, Messenger. So, for example, I talk with my family over Messenger. And so, if you are going to be interacting with that email account, I would urge you to interact with caution until I gain control back over the account. Thank you. So now we're going to go ahead and get into today's topic. Today's topic is, are we surveilling the right people? Now, before we get into this today's topic, ladies and gentlemen, basically what this is doing is it's tying in that international day that we have been talking about. Um, Now, I want to see if there's anything else before I get into this that I need to discuss, or that I should be discussing with you guys. Just a moment, because I did write down some notes. Bear with me for a second. Can't find that. Yes, we are just continuing with that International Day that is combating extremism in the. Uh, so, if you've been following, just a moment. La- So, if you have been following the stories that I have, or actually the vlog post or the podcast that I posted on YouTube, what I've been doing is I've been doing a consistent theme of the International Day for the Prevention of Violent Extremism as and when conducive to terrorism. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that International Day is actually on February the 12th. And there have been approximately 2 to 3 stories that I have actually covered. One has also been on Rumble, and so the story before, this what I'm talking about in this podcast, it had to do with an individual named Samson, uh, Furstener, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. Just a moment. So his name is Samson Furstner, and if you remember, now there's a lot of publications about this particular incident, ladies and gentlemen, but I believe that this particular story was suppressed. It happened last year, and I believe that, yeah, it was suppressed. Now there is updated articles that are starting to appear online, so I don't know if that is the reason why the state has decided to suppress my accounts and to lock me out of my accounts, but it's important to understand that with this with these stories. Just a moment. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so there was a story that was coming out of Yellowstone. And remember, I was talking about how there was this gunman. His name was Samson Lucas Bariah Firstner. And he had actually visited Yellowstone National Park. And park rangers, there was an incident where he was unalived by park rangers because of his activity, which was a threat to national security. And so, in this particular story, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get into it. So, what I'm doing is I just kind of want to like update you on what's going on. So, um, let's see if there's been an update before I get into the headline. And so remember, the theme today is, are we surveilling the right people? That's the theme. And so there was, let's see. So what I didn't discuss in that other story, so the assailant held a woman at gunpoint. And so basically she invited him in her cabin or her room, and he didn't, um so basically, so when she invited him in, I think he tried to build up some relationship or some friendship with her, and she declined those advances. And after those advances were declined, then that's when this attack occurred. And then authorities later discovered that this person was a threat to national security, that this person allegedly had a lot of content that was hateful against groups such as Jews, Muslims, and immigrants. This is what the stories are saying. Now, I have tried to really verify the veracity of these stories. So, yes, I've been trying to verify the veracity of these stories. Ladies and gentlemen, like I will. I will reiterate, there is a lawsuit attached to this particular person. And so in that lawsuit, I read it. Let's see, I have it here. I'll go over the details of this lawsuit. I have not been able to verify if this is coming from the Wyoming website, but it appears legitimate. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm incorrect about what I'm reading, feel free to contact me and let me know that I'm correct so I can make some changes. And so, ladies and gentlemen, allegedly, the United States of America is actually pursuing this litigation against not the assailant, because the assailant is no longer alive, but it's pursuing it against a number of places. And ladies and gentlemen, I find this quite strange that the United States is pursuing litigation against a Nissan SUV. And to me, like, what does the manufacturer of a car have to do with this? But anyway, the lawsuit is alleging that the defendant, let's see what happened. So it says, now, again, I can't verify the veracity of this lawsuit. It was attached to an article that was published by the Atlantic Black Star, and the case number is 2:25 CV 0003 KHR. So I think it's 40, so 0003 KHR. So let's go ahead and just get into it. So it says that this gentleman had a history of extremist views. It was predominantly against immigrants. It was predominantly against African Americans and Jewish people, ladies and gentlemen. And so I think I'm confused that if this happened in July, because like I'm seeing this story, it's looking as if it's new now, but so I'm confused. I think that the what's new is what I think is the lawsuit. The lawsuit is new because yes, so it says in a new court filing, federal prosecutors allege the suspect who took a hostage and got into a shootout with Yellowstone National Park rangers in July rented that he refuses to fraternize with quote unquote race traitors that support, you know, non-whites or Jews, allegedly. But his according to the ABC News, so remember in that um, there is a reporting from Kiera Alfonseca and Alex Stone that specifically states that Samson Fussner, this is the suspect who died in the shootout, allegedly made inflammatory comments about immigrants, African Americans, and Jews while holding a woman hostage in her dorm room. Now, this is an article that's posted on ABC News, ladies and gentlemen. I am looking to them to report things accurately. We know that things that have been coming out of the United States lately has not been accurate. But where I want to take this topic is, are we surveilling the right people? Now, if you've been following my story and you've been following some of the content that I post, you know that I am not a proponent of surveillance. I feel that surveillance robs people of their privacy. It is often a breach of, the private space. It it can be intrusive, and at times surveillance can be voyeuristic, which is a a different kind of intrusive surveillance. It's a surveillance that is bordering on fetishistic, uh, tendencies, I think. And so I am not really a proponent of surveillance. And I think that when the state is surveilling citizens or foreign nationals, that surveillance should be proportionate and it should be within the realms of the law. What I don't support is when the state is surveilling citizens that are not a threat to national security, have nothing to do with uh, that has nothing to do with acts of extremism, and the state is surveilling those citizens. I 100% disagree with that. Yet I have to ask myself this question as to whether or not the state is surveilling the right people. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we have a number of cases that have come out lately of attacks, extremist attacks on the citizen population. And each of those attacks, ladies and gentlemen, have each of those attacks raises this question as to whether or not we are surveilling the right people. And when we look at each incident, ladies and gentlemen, each individual were part of the military or were connected to the military in some form or fashion. Again, there was reporting that was done by journalists that specifically stated that, uh, not a journalist, excuse me, let me correct this mistake. There was reporting that was done by Michael Jensen, who actually covers a lot of extremism. And what he found was most of these attacks come from violent extremists coming out of the US military and the Marine Corps. And so it raises a question as to why is the state using its intelligence capacities and its resources to surveil citizens who are not a threat to national security, but are often not paying attention to those who actually do. For example, I think that if a citizen owns a firearm and they are in the US military and they are looking at extremist content, then these people are, it increases the likelihood that those persons are going to engage in extremist behavior. Yet the state is not focused on those people. And we know this because we have seen a number of incidents where, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, what has happened is that there has been a number of incidents where there has been an attack. And so I want to take this time to look the state in the eye and say that we are concerned. We are concerned citizens. I am an American citizen. I'm in Europe. I'm concerned that my uh, representatives and the state is using its intelligence capacities to intimidate citizens that do not pose a threat to national security, and that the state is using those intelligence capacities and those resources to try and push people into radicalization. Now, as I have stated, and so I'm wrapping up this series of on the International Day for the Prevention of Violent Extremism as and when conducive to violence, unless other incidents come up. But I think right now this will be like wrapping up this series. But as I wrap up this series, I want to let the state know that I'm very concerned that the state is continuously or that we are seeing a number of these incidents, and that the state, instead of actually focusing on legitimate threats to national security, what you're doing is that you are actually focusing on journalists and human rights defenders and activists, academics, and you're using your resources, the abundance of resources that you have to surveil students in academics, to surveil uh, to, to surveil human rights defenders, people who are peacefully advocating for a righteous cause. And you're using your abundance of resources and your cyber hackers to intimidate impressionable people. And you're using it to, I guess, as an attempt to try and frame the narrative that particular people are a threat to national security, but you're not actually really focusing on the real threats at home. That's deeply concerning to me. And so I personally, I think I would urge the state to like reconsider its position and to, I think, I mean, that's number one, reconsider its position, and two, protect the public. I mean, that's what we want. We want to be protected. And I think it's deeply concerning, excuse me, it's deeply concerning that what is happening is that the state is actually focused on people who do not pose a threat to national security. That's deeply concerning. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I seen like a news story. Let's see. Uh, there was a story. Just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to find that story. Okay, I need to wait until like it recircles because I just seen a story that caught my eye, and I need to let's see, will it come up again? Bear with me. Will it come up again? Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I need to see if it comes up again. But what do you think? Do you think that the state should focus more on those legitimate threats to national security? Do you think that the state is already doing that? Do you think that the state is actually wasting its resources on actually surveilling human rights defenders, activists, academics, journalists? Do you think that the state is moving? So when I'm saying the state, I'm actually talking about like states like the United States and the Republic of Ireland. Do you think these states are moving more toward a totalitarian system of politics, moving out of democracy and into totalitarianism? Because that's what it looks like to me, ladies and gentlemen, when you are when there is military on the streets committing mass attacks, mass casualty offenders on the streets. And when they're not only that, but when you have police doing the same thing and these police are not being found guilty, some people being let out of jail, being pardoned, that signals a police state. And when we are talking about police states, we see police states in regimes that are authoritarian and totalitarian. And so my question is, has the United States of America, has it always been an authoritarian, a totalitarian regime? Has it always been that way, but we have just been told something different? Or do you think like it's slowly shifting to that? Is it slowly shifting to an era of totalitarianism, an era of authoritarianism? Is it moving toward that? Is the question. Let me see if I can find that article. I can't seem to locate that article. It was coming across my feed, but I couldn't catch it in time. Maybe it's some breaking news. I'm not seeing it on Breaking News World. Now, I want to reiterate that I did my best to try and authenticate the most recent article, the one that's coming out of Yellowstone. Again, I checked several sources to make sure that they were accurate. The lawsuit looked legitimate, and I am counting on CBS News to put out authentic work. If that work is not authentic, then I think that the CBS News needs to really check with its system to make sure that it's secure. Because if cyber hackers are able to hack in and upload articles, then that is a serious breach in their system. I'm not finding. Maybe it'll come up, come back across my feed. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not. I'm really not seeing it. Let's see. Yeah, like I seen it for a moment, and then let's see. Yeah. Let me see if I can do breaking news, United States. Let's see. I think that's what it was. No, maybe it was an old article. Not sure. It's not coming up. I don't know. But let's see. Okay, I found it. Where is it? So there was a story called Pizzagate. Maybe I need to actually authenticate this story, ladies and gentlemen. I need to authenticate it. So I probably won't bring it to you today. I'll bring it to you another day. But I don't know if it's legitimate, so I need to do a deep dive before I start to talk about it. And so again, I want to leave you with some questions. Do you think, ladies and gentlemen, do you think that we are surveilling the right people? Do you think that United States is going too far with its surveillance? And do you think that the wrong people are being surveilled? Do you think that the state is putting a lot of time and energy into surveilling human rights defenders, activists, journalists, people that do not pose a threat to national security? Your answers are welcomed. I would urge you I welcome you to visit my YouTube channel at Kiana Canada. That's at Kiana Canada, or excuse me, at Real Kiana Canada, at Real Kiana Canada. Now, I don't know when I'm going to get access back to that account. The state has locked me out of that account, so hopefully I will get access back to it because I didn't do anything wrong. Second, you can also visit me on Facebook. You can follow me there as well. I have a Facebook account. So if you go to that YouTube account that I do not have access to, you'll see that in the channel description, you'll see that my Facebook account is there. And you can also read some of the things that I write on Substack. I have a Substack channel now. There is an old Medium account that the state is cornerstoning on Google. And I would advise you not to interact with any of that content because that content is outdated. Now, I did leave some articles on that Medium count that is scheduled for deletion, that's specifically for the state and for its eyes. And so like there's an about me on there. All that is for the state to see because the state is the one that is holding the account. And so this is information for the state. Hey, you're holding this account, so this is for you to see. But if you do go to that Medium account and you visit it, you can see that my Substack account link is there. It takes you, I just clicked on it, so it is taking me to my Substack, so that is good. And so if it changes, that's not me changing it. It took me to my Facebook account, so that's good. Let's see, it has taken me to my correct YouTube accounts, so that's right. So please feel free to visit those channels, and I look forward to talking to you next time. Bye bye.